Antifa coffee shop bans cops, not laughing when they see who's out front days later. A California coffee shop is getting a bit more attention than they expected after deciding to ban police officers. Too bad for the smug Antifa punks, they wouldn't be laughing when they saw who was out front a few days later, and it was all caught on video. Mad World News previously reported on Hasta Muerte Coffee in Oakland, California. The owners announced a no police officers policy, saying that they would not serve any uniformed cops. We know in our experience working on campaigns against police brutality that we are not alone saying that police presence compromises our feelings of physical and emotional safety, Hasta Muerte Coffee posted on its Instagram page. The facts are that POC, people of color, women and queer police are complicit in upholding the same law and order that routinely criminalizes and terrorizes black and brown and poor folks, especially youth, trans and houseless folks. For these reasons and so many more, we need the support of the actual community to keep this place safe, not police, their statement added. Even worse yet, they openly support a well-known cop killer. The coffee shop also supports convicted cop killer Assata Shocker, Joe Antifa, who escaped from a New Jersey prison and fled to Cuba after being convicted of the murder of police officer Werner Forster in 1973. The Women's March supports Shocker, and the felon has even received support from Congresswoman Maxine Waters, DCA, who is being challenged by conservative Latino Omar Navarro, R., in California's 43rd Congressional District. Source: Breitbart. Too bad for them, things have been blowing up in their face ever since. In fact, neighboring businesses were quick to express their outrage over the sentiments of the establishment's owner. However, things just got a lot worse after the entitled brats saw who was in front of their building a few days later, and it wasn't quite so funny anymore. As it turns out, a group of flag-waving, cop-loving, pro-Trump patriots decided to stand out front for a little demonstration. "This is Trump country," the protesters were heard chanting according to the East Bay Times. They also chanted, "Blue Lives Matter." Of course, it wasn't long before whining liberals did what they always do best, erupting into a full-blown temper tantrum. At first, the idiots actually pulled out their phones as if they were going to call the police. After 5 minutes of standing outside the coffee shop, a man comes out and threatens to call the cops, protester Ashton Whitty wrote in an email to Breitbart. That was about the time the anti-cop punks changed up their tactic. Just like that, the coffee shop recruited the help of others who support their anti-police sentiments, presumably through social media. Before long, there was a full-blown confrontation between the protesters and supporters of the coffee shop who came out with signs and were heard chanting, "Let's go, Oakland." Sadly, things quickly took a turn as the liberal thugs started to lash out. Unable to control their emotions like adults, the crybabies started to get physical, trying to rip a flag out of protesters' hands and even attempting to hit demonstrators as well. Fortunately, police quickly arrived to separate the two groups. If ever there was proof of what is wrong with the left, this is it. These people don't want to have a discussion, and they certainly don't know what compromise means. All they want to do is dish out ultimatums, then start beating people into submission when they don't comply. This is not acceptable, and it violates many of our constitutionally protected rights. I hope the owner of this coffee shop never has to call the police. I would hate to see how cops respond to an emergency when they've been verbally abused, insulted, and attacked by the same people calling for their help. My guess is, help may be a little delayed, if it shows up at all. And, who could blame them since these are the same people who'd quickly cry police brutality as officers simply try to do their job. I'd be hesitant to act in such a scenario too.